Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good day, good afternoon. Happy Thanksgiving Eve, wherever you are in the world, joining us for the Cynthia Manion Show every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please share this out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do on the YouTube channel. You can find us everywhere on all the socials. And ladies out there, or gentlemen too, children of all ages, have you ever stood in your closet thinking nothing feels like you anymore? Huh? Like, what am I going to wear? What am I going to wear? Tonight's guest is about to fix that. Yes, indeedy. Stacey Ferrence spent years dressing the power players on House of Cards. As a matter of fact, I am wearing my jacket that was from House of Cards, actually worn in the show. I think it was episode 2, but I can't quite remember. And now she owns Stardust Deluxe. It's a boutique in Annapolis, Maryland. Yeah, I stopped in on Sunday and I picked up a little treat. She always wraps everything beautifully because I'm going to Boston tomorrow morning to see my granddaughter. And this is for the mommy. Look how sweet that is. And she has amazing treasures. So if you're looking for something for Christmas, for now, for Thanksgiving, for someone you love, for your girls at her home, I would pop in and see it. She just moved to a gorgeous new space. It's on 75 Maryland Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland. And that's where she turns a real woman into the main characters of their own lives, just like me. She's dressed me to go to events in LA, New York, and she's got excellent taste. She can, whatever you're trying to become, evolve, feel, she knows how to do it. So we can't wait to meet you. Stacey, come on in. We're ready.
I'm ready. Thanks for having me.
Oh, our pleasure, our pleasure, our pleasure. You've dressed power players on House of Cards, and I'm wearing this jacket. Can you tell me the story? Like, what's the wildest wardrobe story that you can tell us from this set?
Gosh, right off the top. Wildest. So definitely dealt with a lot of different personalities. I'll say that. I've had some favorites, not so favorites, and definitely some situations that are things people don't normally think of, like covering people in dirt and blood and not real blood. And just crazy locations and dunking people underwater and working with stunt people where you just have the most insane, like dangerous things happening and you have to put clothes on them that fit over harnesses, just all sorts of things. I just have worked on a lot of different types of shows, a lot of different types of movies, and all different types of characters. So I definitely have some stories that are not so fun or nice, but I'm going to save those for my coffee table book and my tell-all.
Ooh, yay, a coffee table book in the works.
Yeah.
Oh, goody gumdrop.
But I will tell you my favorite person of all time, who I had the enormous gift to work with, was Betty White. And she was just the most amazing, total pro. She was just really great. Yeah. And I worked with her for 3 years on Boston Legal, and she was a total pro, just the best. So she was my best experience for sure.
I have heard that from Glenn Morshower, my acting teacher. He actually sat beside her, unbeknownst to him in the beginning, on an airplane flying, I forget where, someplace to or from LA. And he had a dream about her, and he woke up and told her about it. And I think she said, well, was I good?
Yeah, that would be her. So the Sue Ann Nivens character from the Mary Tyler Moore Show was not far from who she was in real life, but she was definitely a professional actor and was always prepared, never held anybody up, was always, treated her costumes like what they should be treated, not your clothes that you spill, food all over, their props that you wear. And she would, I remember she would be in her dressing room waiting for her time on camera, and she wore glasses, but her character did not. So she would put a little piece of tissue across her nose and put her glasses on that so she could read without messing up her makeup or leaving little indentations to help the makeup department. And she was just a pro. She was funny, 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 funny. She loved animals. All of those shows, there were like 4 or 5 shows that shot all together, the same producer, same studio, and everyone brought their dogs to work. And if you could just bring your dog, knock on her door, and leave your dog in her room, and she would just be super pleased. She was just really
Oh,
lovely. Yeah.
did you have dogs then?
I did. I had a little dachshund named Stuart,
Oh,
and she loved Stuart, and he loved to jump up and sit on her lap, and she was just a really good spirit, really good time. Lots of like fond memories working with her.
the best of the queen.
Yes.
So you have 2 big dogs now. You graduated.
Yeah, I did. I went from a tiny little dachshund, and now I have 2 huge dogs that I've had for about 8 and 10 years. Actually, just had the 10-year anniversary of my
Oh,
giant dog, and he's 100 plus pounds, and he's a golden lab Chesapeake Bay Retriever mix, and he is huge and looks a little bit like a Mastiff, uh, but a lot like a lab. He's the gentlest giant you'd ever meet. And then I have his name is Oliver, and then I have a black lab who looks
oh,
like most of your black labs, and she's crazy like most of your black labs, and loves to get a bath and then go roll in the mud or find whatever smells the worst and roll around in it and then come up and try to sit on your lap. So yeah, my house is never quiet, as you'll probably hear tonight on the show. You might hear them in the background because they're not very happy that I've closed my office door and not let them
oh.
in. So
Well, maybe we'll get to meet them at the end.
yeah.
I was always a black Labrador girl until I accidentally got a Dalmatian because I was picking one up for my niece, but that's a story for another time. Let me do a shout out to Robert Brooker here. Yep, he goes 100 pounds. Wow. Thanks for joining us, Robert. It's nice to see you. So how did Hollywood costume design change the way you help everyday women shop now?
I think that over all of the years of dressing so many different body types and different
Mhm.
people and different dressing them to be different characters, you really develop an eye for what looks good on certain body types, and you develop an eye for what's going to fit somebody and what isn't going to fit somebody. And it used to be a joke that I could have a man walk up. I did a lot of shows where there were a lot of military uniforms that have to be really precise, and we would dress hundreds of people in uniforms, and it had to be just spot on perfect. And it used to be the joke that someone could walk up and I could look at him and I could tell his shirt size, neck and sleeve, his waist, his chest, and I was pretty accurate almost every single time. So you just develop that eye after dressing so many people. And it's kind of the same thing for personalities. You get a sense after asking some questions what somebody's looking for, or the event they're attending, or the kind of uh, the style in which they want to present themselves. And so I think all of my years of dressing people to be characters has helped me dress people in their everyday lives.
Yes. I have another question, but before that, for anyone who comes in and says, nothing looks good on me, what's the first thing you notice when they walk into the boutique?
So I do find that all the time. And so my style, as you know, and you've witnessed for yourself in the store, people will come in and say, "Oh, that won't look good on me. Oh, I don't look good in that color. Oh, I would never wear that." And I always say, "Trust me for just a minute. Just humor me and let me put some things in a room for you." And 9.5 times out of 10, they say, "I love this and I would have never bought this." And so I'm not a magician. I just have a lot of experience dressing people. So I can look, and the opposite is true too. I can look at something that someone's going to try on, and I'm always very boldly honest with my customers. The last thing I want is for someone to leave my store and get home and say, this looks terrible on me. Why did she sell this to me? So
Mm.
I will always say to people, you can try that if you really love it. And if you love it, buy it. But I don't think that's as flattering for you as maybe this. And I'll tell them why. You know, the proportion of that is going to make you look shorter. If you try this, it's going to lengthen your leg. And those are just all things that you learn after dressing so many people. I mean, I've probably dressed thousands of people in my career, and a lot of people think that everybody is skinny, thin, perfect proportion, but you have to think about every character that's ever been on a TV show. You know, I can dress people that are all different shapes and sizes. I've dressed little people. I've dressed like basketball players that wear size 16 shoes, and you have to have their jackets custom made. Like you develop an eye for what will work on a body and what won't.
Mm. Grace Cavalieri, hello, wants to know what triggered your love for clothing.
I don't know exactly. I mean, honestly, I was the kid that at 8 years old, I was running around like sewing with my grandmother, picking out fabric. I loved fabric. And that was, you know, showing my age a little bit, but that was back in the day when you could go to the mall and they had fabric stores in the mall. And then down the way was like someone playing an organ, right? Like the old days of like the big malls. And I would go to the fabric stores with my grandmother, and I just loved the textures and loved just all the fabric. My grandmother and I would make clothes together. Her mother was a costumer who sewed costumes for a dance company, designed and sewed costumes for a dance company. And I think I've just always loved texture, and I've always loved fabric and pattern and color. And by the time I was 13, 14 years old, I was convinced that I was going to be the next Donna Karan. And I just love the editorial of fashion. I love the art of fashion. And obviously what I do now is a daily version of that art. But I don't know what triggered it. It's always been a part of who I am.
You brought up so many good stories for me to think about, but you just relocated to Stardust Deluxe to the gorgeous new spot on 75 Main Street. What's the vibe?
75 Maryland Avenue. Yeah,
Oh,
we're in
75
Maryland Avenue. Yeah, we are off. We're off State Circle, so we're in a very, very cute little area that, you know, Main Street has a lot of great stores and a lot of great boutiques, but there's also a lot of other stores that are more commercial and more touristy. There's a lot of souvenir shops. You've got a CVS, you've got a lot of coffee shops and restaurants and all that. Maryland Avenue is much smaller in scope and has a totally different character, but it's really only a block up from Main Street. So it's a special little space that has a couple like vintage treasure stores. There are home design stores. There's another store, and she specializes in things that are handcrafted and made in other countries that do good for people around the world. And there's a great coffee shop where you can sit there all day and read books. And there's a brilliant tattoo shop there. And there's a little store that sells wine and a little grocery and gift shop. And it just has a tremendous amount of character, and I love it there.
It's absolutely adorable. You have to come and check it out next time you're here in Annapolis, or visiting the Naval Academy, which is right there as well, like just the next block over.
Correct.
What's the vibe you want women to feel the second they step inside of your shop?
I think the thing that's always been most important to me is that, and the reason that the word deluxe is part of my store moniker, I want people to feel like they're having an experience, and I want people to feel like they're not just walking into a store where people are just trying to sell them things. I want them to walk in and feel that they've found something unique. I try very hard to not buy the same brands or carry the same types of things that other stores near me have. And I want people to feel like they're being taken care of. I want people to feel like my staff is not only kind to them, but I want them to feel styled. I want them to walk in and have anyone that works for me say, hey, this would be really great for you, and just show them the new things or show them the things that they think would work for them rather than just the hard sell. And I've trained all of my staff from the beginning. Don't ever push something on somebody, and don't approach anyone too quickly. Let them get comfortable and feel like they've gotten like a sense of the space, and then help them find what they're looking for, like help them solve whatever the problem is that they have when they walked in. And sometimes people just walk in because they've just walked by and they're curious, but a lot of times people come in and they might not vocalize it right away, but they have a problem that they want solved. I have this wedding that I'm going to, and I have no idea what to wear. I hate my arms, I hate my legs, I don't know what looks good on me, right? So they have a problem, and we're there to try to solve it for them, and that's the goal.
So for our Annapolis locals that are watching, what's the one piece that's flying out of the store right now? I bought gloves and pajamas and there's that was I don't think I've left your shop without getting anything. Well, a couple of times I just got you coffee
Or
at
maybe
both
we just had a great
locations, but I
conversation.
don't think
That's good too. A lot of times people stop by just to say hello to me, and I love that. Since I've moved, every time I put out any marketing, I always say, just, stop by and say hello, because I want that social piece. I want to be a part of a community, which is also so much nicer on Maryland Avenue than my last location, because it's certainly more of a community. But I will say that all of that said, and to answer your question, we're in a bit of a transition because we left that store and we didn't have a lot of time to adjust for holidays. So we quickly went into the sort of gift giving season. So when you walk in the store now, you'll see a lot of gloves, and you'll see a lot of scarves and hats and candles that people love to buy, a lot of gifty things, jewelry. And we have in the store right now things that are for holiday occasions, things that will help you style to wear to, well, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, but your Christmas parties, your New Year's Eve events, your holiday weddings, and all of that sort of stuff. So we're still getting kind of adjusted to the new location. It's much smaller than our last location, but I think it has a much more intimate vibe, and definitely more character.
you call clothing a story, a storyteller. What's a client story where the perfect outfit completely changed how someone saw herself?
A client story?
Yeah, or you any story.
Uh, so I will say that I do get very, very often people will reach out to me or pop in the store just to say, "Hey, I bought this dress from you and I wasn't sure about it, and I went to this event and I got so many compliments, and it just made me realize that I don't look terrible in, jewel tones, or I can show my arms, or it's okay to like not have my legs covered up." Or I get a lot of that, and that feels really great because then I know I've done my job. And I also get a lot of people that come in and say, "My friend bought this blouse here and I just love it." And they'll show me pictures of their friend wearing it. "I need this blouse," right? So I don't know of a specific story where I made this like super wow like transition for a person's life, but I think in general, in a small way, I'm helping people uh, feel comfortable in their own skin and the image that they're projecting to the world. When a lot of people, and I didn't know this until I opened my boutique, a lot of people don't know how to feel comfortable. They don't know how to wear that sort of costume that projects who they want to be or who they are. And I didn't know that when I started. I've spent my whole life loving shopping and loving clothing, and I it sounds so silly at my age that I really was kind of dumbfounded that people don't like shopping. I was like, what? What do you mean you don't like shopping? It's so much fun. So I was like, well, let me show you how much fun it could be. And I still get the people that are like, thanks for helping me, because I'm really glad I didn't have to do that myself, because I hate it so much, right? So
Well,
everybody has a little bit of a different interest, but
mhm.
I love serving my customers that way.
And you do it so beautifully, and we love having you. But it begs the question, why did LA let you leave? Why
Oh,
are
well,
you the
that's
family stuff, huh?
that's a really big story. Yeah, so I I came to Maryland because I was working on a TV show here when we filmed House of Cards here for 6 seasons. And so my husband and I were both working on House of Cards. So that's why we ended up in Maryland. And we both worked on the show from 2000. He started 2012. I started 2013. And the show ended in 2018. And then our plan at the time, we had 2 kids, 12, no, in 2018, we had an 11-year-old and a 14-year-old. So we had kind of decided, well, we'll kind of wait out until our kids finish high school. And then we were going to move to Palm Springs. And we had been looking for properties, and we were going to go back to California and kind of settle in Palm Springs. But, life had different plans, and my husband died unexpectedly very young. And then that was 4 months before the pandemic. So then COVID hit, and I
Mm,
had a 12-year
mm.
old and a 15-year-old. And so, yeah, life became very different. Life became a whole different set of goals, and became very different for me, because all of a sudden I had to be the person doing all the things, which also included, you know, making the money and being the provider and all of that. So that was a huge twist, and so I had to think pretty quickly on my feet, and it was difficult because it was COVID and the world was shut down, and so I did other things. Just, I can't sit still, and I don't like to just sit still and be idle, and so I started a catering company that I was doing out of my house, and I was feeding families that were home. I at one point was feeding like 20 families a week, 3 nights a week, and I was cooking meals for their whole family and delivering them, and that got me by for a little while. And then I thought, you know what? I need to get back to my roots and back to some clothing and fashion, and kind of figure out what I want to do. Moving back to LA with 2 small kids by myself and trying to re-enter costuming at that point was just impossible, just so expensive to go back. And that industry was very quiet at that time as well. And so I started buying some clothes wholesale online, and started doing some live sales out of the business that I had at that time. I had started a costume rental business, and I was doing live sales out of that costume rental business, and people loved it. So I thought, what better thing to do during COVID than start a brick and mortar boutique? Why not? That seems like it makes perfect sense, right? So yeah, I I feel like I'm very bold, and I make a lot of uh, choices that I'm either so brave or just really, really not very smart.
Uh, you're very adventurous,
I am adventurous. That is true.
and
So yeah,
that's
that's how I started my boutique. Yeah.
so much to go through.
Yeah,
It's a big
definitely.
lot.
Yeah, it's definitely a life altering experience. And as the store started to grow and the store started to pick up and gain traction, and the world came back to life again, I still had 2 kids at home, and it was just me trying to navigate both those things and all the things. So yeah, it's been it's not been an easy road, but I've remained really passionate about what I do and what I offer. And I don't know what else I would do, to be honest. From the time I was 18 years old in college, I have a degree in fashion design. I went to school for 4 years and a minor in costume design, and I started in the garment industry in LA. I've never done anything else really, except stay home to raise my kids for some years, but it's kind of all I know, and I'm still really passionate about it. So,
Ah, what advice do you have for other women who might be going through this during this time where holidays coming up? That grief
yeah,
factor can be enormous.
it's rough. It's my husband passed away. It was 6 years ago this November, so just a couple weeks ago. And it doesn't get easier. Like your grief doesn't ever get smaller. You just learn how to build your life around it. And so you might not have those super acute sharp pains, although they still happen, and the holidays are certainly a trigger, but um, every day doesn't feel like walking on glass, but the holidays are definitely rough. Uh, and you can find joy, and I'm learning to find a lot of joy again, but the grief doesn't ever end. It doesn't really ever go away. And I'm at a place in my life right now where I think I'm ready to have another relationship. My kids are both away at college, and I feel like I focused really hard on raising them, and that was my number one priority. And the holidays make it feel incredibly isolating when you don't have a partner. And everything seems to point to that missing person. So the way that I've found around it is to just be present with everyone around me and to be easy on myself and to give myself space to rest and give myself space to take a step back from the business and say, okay, give yourself some grace and take some rest and do some self-care and uh, just be kind to yourself. And also, gratitude is a huge part of that. Like being really grateful that I have two amazing kids. I have two amazing children that just surprise me and blow me away every day. And I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for the friends I have. And I'm thankful for the opportunities I get and for the amount of people that will come, like you, the amount of people that will enter my life and say, how can I be a bright light in your life? How can I help you? How can I support you? And that makes a huge difference in your life when you have people that genuinely want to support you and want to lift you up. And as a result, I feel like I want to lift other people up all the time because it reciprocates and it gives back. And so I'm thankful for a lot of things in spite of, I have my moments. I have a lot of moments where I think, this really sucks. Like, why did this happen to me? Like, why do I have to have this life? Why do I have to do everything by myself? Why do my kids not get a dad? I get pretty dark with it. But surprisingly, my kids lift me up. At the anniversary of my husband's passing, I reach out to them, and this was the first year that they were both gone. They were both at school, and I reached out in group text to both of them, just said, I'm holding you both really close in my heart today. And they both called me and said, are you okay, Mom? What can we do to support you? And I thought, wow, you know, um, so it's that gratitude piece that keeps me going. And also just being super thankful for the years that my husband and I did have. They were pretty amazing, and I'm learning as I get older that some people never have that experience, and I had it for 20 years. So thankful for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can feel a little bit. Today actually is my mother's birthday, and she died in 1979 and left me with my brothers and sisters to raise. And my son and his wife, Jenny, my daughter-in-law, who got the pajamas, named my first granddaughter, their first granddaughter, Frances, after my mother.
Okay.
So
That's
I'm just
beautiful.
like, she was my best friend. And I think about, in fact, I'm wearing 2 of her rings that match your House of Cards jacket.
Nice. So without giving too much away, how old were you when your mother passed away?
I was young. I was at school. I was at Georgetown University, as a matter of
Okay,
fact.
so you were okay. Okay.
I was, yeah.
So that's a tough age.
It was tough. I remember I was sitting in Father Zarini's macro or micro economics class, which wasn't one of my favorites. And he was like, "Man, are you with us?" I looked at him, I went, "No, Father, I'm not." And I picked up my books and walked out and went and took care of the kids. And got really fat, actually.
Yeah.
Was living on ice cream and took the kids. And then, you know what's funny? I went and tried out for a modeling gig, and you're not going to believe this. I got it. I played Mae West for the Smithsonian Institute, and Edith Head was the costume director who brought the clothes in for that. So look at how
That's
our little
wonderful.
lives are kind of intertwined a little bit there.
That's great.
So
That's
that was,
awesome.
yeah. So happy birthday in heaven, and your wife misses you very much. That's you, Stacey.
Thank you.
So Thanksgiving gives us gratitude and thankfulness. What are you thankful for, ladies and gentlemen? Because gratitude can get you through a lot. And your community and the community that you keep around you, and getting help. Like, Stacey, for moms who've lost their style for whatever reason, what's the fastest way you can help them find it again?
Oh, I think that
Just my point wants to know if we're both sisters or friends.
I think that the first thing is to let go of a preconceived idea that you have about your body. I think that as women, and I totally understand why, because it's shoved down our throats everywhere you look and everywhere you listen, that you have to be a certain way or you have to look a certain way. And the truth of it is, you can dress and look however you want. I think the whole idea of trends and what's in fashion is a bit of a passe kind of notion. And that might just be because I'm getting older and I really don't care whether I'm wearing something that's in style or not, because I've found my own style and maybe it doesn't suit other people, but it doesn't matter. It makes me happy. So I think for women that are trying to find their way back, it's about thinking about who you are without feeling like you have to cover up what you look like. Like wearing things that make you comfortable. And maybe you need a little bit of help understanding colors that look good on you, or understanding how to put things together and how to build outfits together, and that's perfectly fine. But I I get so sad when so many women walk into my store and say, "I look terrible in everything," or "I've gained weight," or "I had a baby and I've gained weight, so nothing's going to look good on me anyway, so I'm just going to cover myself up." And that's so not true. You you can be proud of the body that you have and feel good in the body that you have without feeling like you have to cover it up. And I think that's an awful disservice that we've done to women forever, is expecting women to look a certain way and be a certain way. And if you look through some, I don't know, you can look in all different places, art or music or wherever, and you look at big, powerful women, women that have a voice, and they don't all look the same. They all have some unique thing that makes them who they are. And I try to encourage women to think about, like, what do you love about yourself? What's your favorite body part? What's your favorite asset? And sometimes women will just say, my eyes. I love my eyes. And so I just try to help women understand that you can develop a wardrobe and you can develop a collection of looks that make you feel comfortable and good about yourself without feeling like you have to just put on a giant coat and cover up your body.
Exactly. And Stacey can help you with that. She translates red carpet costume tricks into real life confidence for women.
I definitely try to help women just find that version of themselves where they feel really, really good. It's like armor, your clothing is your armor. It's the way that you present yourself to the world. And the more you wear something that feels authentic to who you are, the better you're going to feel when you're out in the world. And that's the magic of like red carpet looks and Hollywood and all of that is finding things that make women and men feel powerful so that they go out in the world feeling confident. And for our everyday lives, that doesn't mean you have to be wearing some super sharp, expensive thing. It just means like having a closet of things that when you put them on, you feel good. And this fits me and it's not too tight and I don't feel like I have to throw a jacket over it, or, just find things that fit you and things that are flattering. And that's what I try to do, is help women get to that place. And as an aside, talking about men, this isn't just for women, but in so much of my costuming experience and many, many shows that I've done where there were a lot of suits, and learning how to tailor a suit. Tailoring is very key, you know.
Yes, in
When
fact, Robert
men,
said something about great tailoring matters much. Yes, Robert, you were right on key there.
oh yeah, but men, I can't even tell you how many hundreds of times I would dress a man in a suit who's never worn a suit, and he'll come to his fitting in sweats or khaki shorts, like cargo shorts and a t-shirt or whatever, just fine. Works for your daily life. But then put that man into a beautiful suit and a beautiful shirt and a tie and nice shoes, hem his pants just so, hem the sleeves, they walk differently. I'm telling you, Cynthia, they walk differently. They all of a sudden, like, posture is great, and they
Mhm.
feel great, and they're like, I have never worn a suit before and this feels amazing, right? So the same is true for women. Often when I have a customer or a client, a styling client, and I'll say, okay, well, try this dress. Oh, this looks terrible. Okay. And then I will get down on my hands and knees with my little bucket of pins and I'll say, okay, like, let's turn this up and let's pull your sleeve up here and let's take this in here. And they go, oh, that looks great. So tailoring is everything. Very few people can wear something just right off the rack.
Yes, Robert says finding the right colors that makes you pop is also powerful. Yes, so for professional women who got stuck in black and neutrals, how do you sneak in a pop of color that changes everything?
Well, I think it's about your personality. What color do you love? You're not going to look good or feel good in a color that you don't like. Like, I love blue. I wear a ton of blue. And so when I'm wearing something that's like the greatest shade of blue, like a cobalt or like a teal, I feel fantastic. You put me in an orange or a yellow, and I'm going to be like, oh, I don't feel so great. So it's also a matter of colors that you love. And also, if you have the opportunity to work with somebody that can tell you like what palette complements your skin tone, hair tone, and all of that. That definitely helps. But you can see when somebody tries something on and they're immediately bristled by like, oh, I don't like this color. And I tell people all the time, I tell customers all the time, they'll try something on and they're like, I love this sweater. And I'll say, at the risk of losing a sale, which is fine, I don't want to lose a customer, I will say, I don't think that flatters you. And then I'll say, try this, and I'll show them something like, oh, this looks great, right? So that's just a matter of training your eye to also see what colors make you feel good. And if a color makes you feel good, it's most likely a good color for you to wear because it changes the whole palette of your visage, your face, your eyes, your hair, the whole thing.
And your daughters and you, I think you mentioned books and color. There's a book, Gardner's Art Through the Ages, that you used when you were in school, and then your
Oh, yeah.
daughters used
Oh, you
when
saw
they
that
were in
picture
school.
on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, Eric's going to pop it up for us here so everyone can see it. And there it is. And so you have the first version, and your daughter has one of the newer versions, I suspect.
Yeah, there's a funny story behind this
Art Through
too.
the Ages, yeah.
Art Through the Ages. Yeah. So this text has been around for a very, very long time. I have a friend who is in his 70s, and he had this book in college also. So
Really?
it's pretty much the standard of art text. And so that was just a great moment of discovery when Harper came home and said, look what book I have. So that was great. It was my favorite. Obviously, I still have it. And I still have most of my textbooks from my art classes, and especially art history and costume history are some of my favorite subjects. So this was a great moment for us.
Fabulous. Fabulous. I do not have that book, although I don't think I have any more room on my bookshelves. A girlfriend of mine, Ashley Otteson, just did a little TikTok thing or
Okay.
YouTube thing, and she's all the books, and like she's a fiction book, a romance book, and she's like all over the place. And then another one comes, and they go, no, 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 you haven't touched this one, this one, this one, this one. It's adorable if you happen to catch it. What's the biggest fitting room myth that you're on a mission to burst? Probably how people feel about their bodies, huh? Something in that category that you kind of talked about.
Yeah, and also that mirrors lie. A lot of mirrors are deceptive. A mirror can really be distorted, as we know, like from the funhouse mirrors, like just the slight little twist or curvature of a mirror, and it can look very different. And so I always tell people, look in different mirrors, different light. And I currently in my new store, I'm working on mirrors because it's much smaller. And, in my previous location, we had mirrors everywhere, but I would tell people, try different mirrors. Look, this one's right in the front window. See the natural light. See, this is a three-way mirror. This is a huge mirror, But I would say for sure mirrors lie. Often you'll get into a fitting room and the mirrors are just not flattering at all.
And you would think that if you're going to the fitting room, they would have spent a minute on the mirrors.
It's a tricky science because often fitting rooms are so small. I'm having a similar issue with my new space because it's, it's small and I don't have great lighting right now. So it's a trick. It takes time to finesse. I've only been in the new space not a month yet. So we're working out all the little bugs. But fitting rooms definitely. Also, if you get into a fitting room, this is just my personal thing. I know there's a lot of cliches about fashion is supposed to hurt and all those things. I don't believe that. I believe that your clothing should be comfortable. And that doesn't mean sloppy, and that doesn't always mean sweats or stretchy waistbands. I think you should be comfortable in your clothes. And I am a person, I have some crazy sensory issues when it comes to clothing. Today, I was going to wear this very tissue weight turtleneck that I have, and I put it on, and I had it on for 4 seconds, and it was like, came off. has cashmere in it. I can't wear wool. I can't wear it just immediately makes me feel like someone is trying to suffocate me. So you have to know, like, if you put something on in a fitting room and you think to yourself, this looks great, but this is uncomfortable and it's going to bug me, or it's going to, like, don't get it. Don't buy it. You don't, life is short. There's no time to be uncomfortable in what you're wearing. I feel that way. I've learned my lesson with shoes. You know,
Ah,
I've spent my whole life just loving shoes, and I wasn't like a big fancy wearing heels all the time, but I love great shoes. And now as I've gotten older, I can only wear comfortable shoes because I've developed arthritis in my foot. I'm like, it's kind of like a little bit of my identity. It's a little weird to not be able to wear these cute like ballet flats or wear like little kitten heels. I can't do it anymore. So there's no point in being uncomfortable, is the point. Like, find things that you love and you want to feel good, you know? Life is short.
yeah,
You can look really dynamic and great and still be comfortable.
yeah. It's funny. I had the same. I put on a black. I put on a. I pulled out 3 or 4 black turtlenecks I was going to wear, and then I went, no, I think I need white. And then I went, oh, I think it's too much neck. I need it to be open. And we both ended up in with a V-neck. And no, we're not sisters, but we're becoming really good friends. For
That's
women
funny.
over 50, I'm worried about age appropriate style. What's your loving pushback?
Mm. So I do believe that you have to be who you are, and I can cite examples. You know, um, a lot of designers that really pushed envelopes and didn't pay attention to sort of fashion norms that are really, honestly, if you break it down, those guidelines are are arbitrary. To say that a woman in her 60s can't wear a certain thing doesn't make any sense, because some women at 60 could wear it and look great, right? So I say, honestly, wear what makes you feel comfortable. Wear what you love. And if that's something that's not subdued, you know, or we're supposed to slowly just die and disappear and turn into beige in the background with our clothing, right? No.
No, no,
Like,
no.
wear whatever you want. Wear whatever you want. If it makes you feel fabulous, wear it, you know? I think that there's a lot to be said for your personality coming out in the way that you dress, and that's has nothing to do with your age.
Um, what styling rule from film sets should every woman steal for daily life?
Tailoring, number one.
Tailoring, good one.
Uh, Make sure what you're wearing is steamed or pressed, not wrinkled, matted up, covered in dog hair. I love my dogs. My house is full of dog hair. Just making it look clean, making it look well kept. What, no matter what it is, if you're wearing a pair of chinos, and I'm a huge t-shirt girl. I am still such a tomboy. A pair of chinos and a t-shirt and a denim jacket and my Adidas sneaks like all day long. But your pants have to be steamed out. You're just making sure that even if you're very, very casual, that everything looks clean and intentional and not just like you pulled it out of a laundry basket.
Yes. I think that's a great thing. Have you seen the people in the airports recently? It looks like they seriously just got out of bed.
Yeah, I know. And that
Well,
was
we
the
should
whole
dress
thing
for
with the
that.
transportation secretary, right? He just said that like yesterday or day before about, please don't travel in your pajamas. I would agree with them. I would agree. Like, I think it's a pet peeve of mine because it, in my opinion, like I said, you can be very, very casual. You can be wearing a pair of jeans, a simple white t-shirt, and a pair of flip-flops. And in my opinion, if you are comfortable and you're casual, that's okay. But if you're wearing your slippers and your pajamas in public, that really just says to the world that you don't care. It's kind of like I just don't care. And that goes totally against my whole idea and my philosophy about your clothes tell a story of who you are. And it doesn't have to be a huge story. It just needs to be like a, a statement. Even if it's not a jacket, sometimes you want to have a crisp jacket or a popped collar or something, and that's a statement. But if you're walking around in your pajamas, to me, that's a big statement about how you see yourself. And it's not just at the airport.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been horrified by it. I'm just like, really?
Yeah. And it's funny too, I remember so much has changed with travel, and in the 70s, I remember traveling with my grandparents, and my grandmother always wore a jacket. It was like you did not travel without a jacket. And I don't
You're
think it
dressed to the
necessarily
nines.
that
Yes.
anymore. Yeah, and certainly farther back in the 60s and the 50s, and even, earlier than that, like, yeah, you definitely got dressed up because it was an event. People couldn't afford to do it. But I do think it's a little crazy when I go to the airport and I see people with their slippers and their feet up on the chairs. It just makes me cringe.
No. And
Yeah.
you travel for inspiration. What city or trip most influences the pieces you bring into the store?
Uh, well, I have to say that my favorite place in the world and my favorite vibe in the world is Big Sur, California, and
Of
Carmel.
course.
That's that is exactly that's my vibe, 100%. And if I could, I'd show you my vision board right now, but that's just, I am totally inspired by the beauty there and just the natural kind of casual aesthetic, but just a little bit of style and the ocean and the colors and all of that. That really inspires me. And I'm just in my heart just such a California girl, but I every time I go home and I see the mountains and the chaparral, and I'm just like, oh, that's inspiration for me. It's just gorgeous, but subdued. It's not a big flashy thing. It's just beautiful.
Have your girls visited? I mean,
Oh
since
yeah.
they've grown up?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we go back quite a bit. My oldest is at the University of Oregon, and she's never coming back. So she's going to stay on the West Coast. Um,
You might start migrating that way. We'll be going to Stardust Deluxe in
yeah.
Big Sur.
Yeah, I've definitely been looking westward as
Mm.
my life has transitioned now that both my kids are gone. So I'm going to kind of wait it out a little bit and see what my youngest decides to do and where Harper ends up.
Yeah. Oh,
Who
this is gonna be
knows?
a very exciting chapter to watch, everybody.
Yeah.
And when is your book coming out?
Well, I don't have any aspirations of writing a book except the coffee table book, which will be maybe photos and excerpts, but I have to wait a little bit for that one. I don't have the time for any new
Oh, you
projects
have a
right
lot going on, that's for sure.
now.
What else
Yeah.
is next for Stardust Deluxe? Any new collections or events you want the audience to know about?
So now is that time. We have this weekend kicks off the holiday season, and we have on Friday something that I haven't participated in until being on Maryland Avenue, what downtown Annapolis calls Plaid Friday, which is super fun. And it is the shop small version of Black Friday. And so a lot of the stores on Maryland Avenue and downtown have events, and they encourage people to make it fun and wear their favorite plaid and come and shop. And everybody has like all sorts of deals and specials going on. And then of course Saturday is a big one. Saturday is uh, shop small Saturday, which is a big deal. And I believe it was originally conceptualized by, I want to say it was American Express, as a way to drive dollars towards small businesses. And really right now small businesses are hurting, and so this shop small movement is important to all of us, to get people to spend even a portion of their dollars in small stores. You know, we can't compete on Black Friday with big box stores. Big box stores, like, they spend the entire year planning for merchandise that they can comfortably mark down for Black Friday. We don't have the margins or the sales to really have anything that would even match Black Friday for someone like Macy's or even Anthropologie. You know, these are major, major brands. And so Shop Small Saturday is about encouraging people to spend some of your dollars with your favorite little boutiques and stores that make you feel special, or stores that you don't want to lose, because the truth of it is, if you don't shop with us, you're going to lose us. And so we try to bring people in so that we don't end up having, like, you know, what is kind of the tide right now of, like, just wanting giant national brands instead of honoring some of the small local brands, as we just saw what happened with my store. So I think people have to remember that if you don't shop with us, we're not going to be there. So that's what Saturday's all about. And then we'll flow into Midnight Madness.
Huh?
And then we'll float right into Midnight Madness.
Yes, Midnight Madness.
Yeah, Midnight Madness starts next Thursday. So we're pretty busy in the store getting ready for all those things.
It's Thanksgiving in Australia today.
Nice.
How about that? How about that? So what is the reason for anyone watching from DC, Baltimore, and beyond to make the drive to Annapolis or fly into BWI, Baltimore Washington International Airport, and come visit Stardust Deluxe?
Well,
Stardust Deluxe.
I think the thing about it is that we're definitely not like every other store. We're not a big brand. You're going to find unique things, and definitely on Maryland Avenue, if you come down the street, you're going to find a lot of unique shops. And that's true of Main Street also. And just all the events that are happening for the holiday season. If you come into the store, you're going to find everyone is serving some kind of special treat, or someone is offering a special deal, or like a gift wrap, or just, you know, holiday cheer. Everyone's going to have different events on the street with music or pop-ups from other brands and collabs that are happening. It just is a little more unique. You're not going to find that at a big box store. You're not going to have that sense of collaboration and community with a big box store.
And special pieces that mean someone, that you give from your heart instead of just
exactly.
Yeah. Something they'll treasure and cherish from their mom or their sister or their grandmother or their husband forever.
Yeah.
Those little
exactly.
So what's the piece in your new space that you're secretly hoping every client tries on?
So in the store right now, I have this amazing velvet jacket, which I think when you try it on, you realize that it has this really great detail on the cuff, and it has these little covered buttons, and it's really sweet. And it just is something that's great with the satin camisole that we have it hanging with, and the slip skirts that we have, but could also be just really great for New Year's Eve with a pair of dark indigo jeans and a boot. Just really cute. I love that jacket. So hoping, you know, we're a small boutique. We don't buy very deep. I try to make sure that as a small boutique that we're honoring our local people also, so that when it's gone, it's gone. So you got to get in the store and buy it while we have it in stock. And I generally don't reorder. I buy something new. So, and that's the nature of a boutique. That's why people shop with boutiques, because you're not going to find everyone on the street wearing the same thing.
It's so special, and you have such exquisite taste. It's absolutely amazing. I remember I wore a little white dress. It was V-neck, and it's one of those dresses, when she pulled it out, it was like, I would never wear that. So I wore it in LA, and do you know, everyone asked me where I got that dress, and I think I came in and bought one for a girlfriend, and we shipped it off, and another girl wanted it, but you didn't have any more extra smalls left for her. So I mean, she's got those little things that you just kind of go, oh, and I still have that dress.
Yeah.
And I will keep it for a very long time because, dresses that you get that many compliments and you're just like, it's got
Yeah.
a little something, something when you put it on.
Yeah, I always try to buy when I go to market, I try to buy stuff that's just a little unique and a little different. Just give everybody a little bit of personality.
Um, Final question for daughters shopping with moms or daughter-in-laws. How do you navigate those sweet generational differences?
Hmm. So I would say that every time a mother or daughter comes into the store, I generally am not the store for the daughters, um, except for my gifts and jewelry and accessories. I'll capture the daughters that way. And I tried when I first opened the store to really do all of these different generational levels, and I found that I wasn't serving anyone thoroughly. And so mothers and daughters will come in, and the daughters gravitate towards the jewelry, and they say, "Oh, look at these great earrings, mom. Look at this, or look at these mittens are so cute," especially now when I have so much gift in the store. Um, but the moms always go for the clothing and for, you know, the help with like, I'm going to this event, what can I wear? That type of thing. And now with the Maryland Avenue store, I've brought back in some of my vintage and a lot of the designer stuff that I have from the shows that
Ooh.
I've worked on. And a lot of the younger kids are buying some of those pieces too, because they're also into like
Ooh.
the vintage and all that. So that's been great.
And they're one of a kinds. And sometimes she has the tag on it with the little story or where it came from. And you'll be like, yes, this is my jacket from House of Cards. I'm cool. Or
Yeah. Yeah.
what else would you like to tell our audience before we sign off? That hour went by so quickly.
It did. Well, I just like to tell everybody to come by and take a look in the store, even if you just stop by and say hello and just walk around and shop the street. It's going to be amazing during the holidays. The whole town is just going to be full of people and lots of events. And if you look at my story on Instagram and Facebook right now, you'll see some of the events that are going on in the store, and you can come by and take a look, pick out a unique gift, and get down the street this Saturday for Shop Small Saturday, and also Friday we're going to be serving little bubbly in the afternoon, so you can come by and do a little sip and shop too.
Ooh, what fun, what fun. So ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, you should see the really cute pink fuchsia gloves I got with furry things on the bottom. I just can't wait to wear them with a black coat and give it a little spice of life. Thank you so much for being with us, Stacey. You are absolutely adorable. Please support small shops, small businesses worldwide because they give us the character, the flavor of life. Come and join us next week on the Cynthia Manion Show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I always have amazing guests and you always get a good tidbit. Please share this out and subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. Have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you so much. Thank you, Stacey.
Thank you,
Bye, y'all.
Cynthia.
Good job. Woohoo!